Oh, I've just been watching the Andrew Tate interview with the BBC. He secretly recorded the 38-minute interview, apparently secretly. Um, they only made 8 minutes. It looks pretty stitch up. But it made me think, it's like, look, I think Andrew Tate is a douchebag. I really do. And I even think his unedited video makes him look like a douchebag. He's stiff, he's defensive, he's argumentative. So there's something about him, like the guy's a grifter, right? His Hustlers University is a grift. And, his self-help stuff is like, there's some substance there, I guess. So, like some of the shit he says is true. But he's like the worst kind of materialist. He's so superficial. He's just a power seeker, glory seeker. He's sleazy. So I don't know why he's being martyred. Like, it really is. The cultural elite that we seem to have today just seems to keep topping themselves for stupidity. It's like they see fires that terrify them and they just throw petrol on them. Like my old Muslim neighbor, a very pious Malaysian Muslim, his wife is one of the straightest people I've ever met. She fucking loves Andrew Tate, loves him. And I just mention this as an example of like how counterproductive the hunt for Andrew Tate is. I have to admit, when they like I wasn't cheering or anything when they arrested him in Romania, mainly because the glee and the bias of the establishment media to hunt him down is just like embarrassing. But the fact that he was trolling a teenage environmental activist online and that did him in is funny. It's genuinely funny. Like there's karma all round here. Like people get what they deserve. It's almost impossible to avoid it. But we need to stop vilifying masculine confidence. And I'm not suggesting Andrew Tate is like the example we should have. But, useful feminism died like a decade or two ago. I remember a year or two ago when I was on Twitter watching the feminist thread, being in a feminist thread that was talking about how disgusting hegemonic masculinity is and how nobody, vile males are permitted to get away with everything. And it was an ugly story. Like, it was one of these situations we've probably all seen where there's some men in a pub, in a party at a reserved table getting drunker and drunker and becoming obnoxious and vulgar and harassing waitresses and stuff. And these women were getting really upset that no one was helping. And all the men are just like, it's like... And the implication was that the men endorsed this behaviour. And I was sort of stunned to read this, because... it seems obtuse to me, because it's like this is the fruits of the kind of feminism we have. Like if you teach men to doubt themselves, that confidence is toxic, that violence is terrifying, to always let other people speak and act first, well, who's going to stand up against the rough men? You see, really aggressive feminist critiques of hegemonic masculinity roll right off the backs of toxic men, right? It just makes them more toxic and more self-righteous. But men who are sensitive and introspective, they'll listen to that, and they will doubt themselves. It will paralyze them morally quite often. I would suggest that in a situation like that, it's as much feminist brainwashing as toxic masculinity that's causing all these men to be passive in the face of ugly masculine chauvinism. And I see it all around me. You know, like last year in the park, I watched a young father tell his 2-year-old boy not to chase the pigeons, the poor little things are just getting their breakfast. And I've had times where people give me dirty looks because I let my son chase pigeons. It's like, this is mental illness breeding mental illness. It's really good for kids to chase pigeons. It's development. It's normal, it's natural. It's even good for the pigeons. Pigeons aren't scared of toddlers. They're born to be chased. If you're not harassing them to the point of exhaustion, they're fine. But getting children to like second guess themselves like this all the time, like that's not compassion, it's not evolution, it's not progress. People really should stop trying to progress so hard. Like things happen when they happen by themselves, you know? Like when you just do what the moment calls for, you progress. When you try to be progressive, you end up reactive and reflexive. And you'll inspire as much opposition as anything else. I mean, it just makes me really sad. Because I understand what people are trying to do. There's something good here that people are trying to produce, but it's so naive. It's so naive. It's just really sad. I mean, we shouldn't be martyring Andrew Tate. Like, why is the culture so stupid and getting stupider? Like it's like we need an EMP or something. Like, really. I'm not even joking. Like, I know I might not survive the fallout. Like, if there really was, like, solar flares and electricity around the world, like, just shut down. Like, you know, I'm not a man of the jungle. But I have no doubt at all, we would be so much better off with no media at all.